If Muritala took power over Gowon, how would you have explained that to T.Y. Danjuma? Farotimi. If Muritala took power over Gowon, how would you have explained that? Okay. Nigerian activist Dele Farotimi has alleged that the emergence of Yakubu Gowon as military head of state in 1966 was a carefully calculated compromise by military leaders, shaped by religious consideration. Everything is always tied to religion, and the urgent need to prevent further unrest in the country. Speaking in an interview with Edmond Obilo, Farotimi explained that why Gowon was the only viable choice at the time. If you were not saying you don't want Gowon because he's a Christian, that was where the problem would have started, because the bulk of the officer corps after the July coup were from the Middle Belt, so there was no way anybody would have been able to make the argument that it should be Muritala Muhammad. If Muritala takes power over and above Gowon, how would you have explained that to the likes of T.Y. Danjuma, a fellow Christian like Gowon? He said. Farotimi argued that Gowon's emergence had nothing to do with seniority or rank. He noted that Gowon was not the highest ranking officer in the military at the time, but rather a middle ground figure, the one man all sides could live with. According to him, the actual plotters of the coup found him acceptable, and even Muritala Muhammad and his allies were willing to step aside in Gowon's favor. Okay, that one is history people that really know much about the Gowon and Muritala talk. Timochenko says the fact is that the Middle Belt would still be happy if Muritala was the head of state instead of Gowon in 1966 after the buying of Iransi, because the only thing that unites Nigeria is the hatred various tribes had against the Igbos. Then he replies and says you can't blame other tribes for hating the Igbos after the first coup that they plotted, which by leaders of these tribes. You claim hate Igbos with no single Igbo man, either civilian or military, died. Chukwu is replying to her. He says, and the coup is also responsible for the headsman buying presently. They are not the ones though. Chukwuemeka replies again and says, was the coup responsible for the buying of Hausa kings and replacing them with Fulani emirs? Umar Mohammed said, was it the love Igbos had for the other tribes that buyed Baliwa, Hamadu Bello, Akintola, no be small thing? Back to back. Kakus Usman says Igbos remain hated since 1966 because they had sense but no wisdom. In other words, you may be brilliant but still remain a fool. How can you within one night eliminate all top political and military hierarchy of the North and still believe that there won't be a backlash? Timochenko says Ojukwu, an Igbo man, was the only officer that insisted that Brigadier Oguntepe should be the next head of state after the buying of Iransi, that he, Ojukwu, did not recognize Gowon. So it is bad that the Yorubas have refused to appreciate that singular effort by Ojukwu. Why are the Yorubas sleeping sealed lips on that Ojukwu's heroic efforts? Afalabi replies and said this was not because Ojukwu loved Yorubas, but the bitterness against the North after the counter coup was his motivation. Okay. Josiah replies, he says, as told by the Gota Lagos Ibadan press during the period. Henry Afalabi says, whether Gota Lagos or Ibadan press, as you said it, you can wish away the truth. Igbos in the North were even mocking the Northerners with a music by an Igbo artist which says Ahmad Bello was crying like a goat when Ezeogo buried him. This insult upon injury caused the pogrom. Ibadan and Lagos press are still the best. Hope you are aware. No be smarting. Josiah replies him and says, you go explain tire. Didn't the world press report that majority of the Northerners jubilated with the mice of the Saudana and the Yorubas did the same for Akintola because they were both tyrants, until the blood-stained British press and Gota Lagos Ibadan press changed the narrative. Open your eyes. All this back and forth. The law says apt. Franklin Honora says, so it is them that bite Iransi. Guess 237 says, it seems you are confused. Your knowledge of the happenings at that period is twisted by you, and it seems you know very little, probably not yet born then. That's the issue. Most of us do not even know all of these things. And because we were not taught history in school, it's hard to really say, this is what happened, and not like you start giving issues that you start giving account of things that did not happen right in your presence, and be acting as if you are there. Nobody was there, and all of those people that they're talking about now, they are all gone. So yes, 2377 says, since you are confused, your knowledge of what is happening at that period is twisted by you, and it seems very little. Solomon Keita says it was the best compromise to retain power by subtlety. When the arrived time came, they chased him away and the endless tales continued. What will it profit a man to gain the whole world? The scripture writes. Kelo says the young soldier was assigned and used as a pawn. That one is possible. Abiodun Layo says you have flipped the historical facts about the choice of Gowon. You see, they said he has flipped it. After the January 1566 on his head, Gowon was the most senior of the northern soldiers in the Nigerian army at that time. Muritala was even lower in rank to Usman Katsina, who was lower than Gowon. Everybody might be giving a wrong historical facts as far as I'm concerned. Who was lower than Gowon? The counter coup was really a northern coup. All senior military officers from other parts of Nigeria were not acceptable to them. Where the highest officer had fled, the choice of Gowon irritated Ojukwu, of the same rank. Okay. Robert Sanchez says, how did they make Obasanjo president from prison if you know what is going on more than yourself? Solomon Keta says, first let them provide answers and I fit sell for them. Well done. Okay. So, Abiodun says, Robert Sanchez, I know it's more than you could believe I do, but I don't speak on sensitive security issues. Above all, it was shown to me on December 25, 1982 that Obasanjo would be the head of state once more. Therefore, it was divine and providential. The hand of God directed those men that worked it out. Okay. Manifest said, choosing clueless General Gowon over Muritala was where Nigerians began to get it all warped and wrong, and that singular error has kept us backwards till date. Oh, really? Oh, as he says, choosing clueless Gowon over Muritala, the same popular common vile abusive term. After all, PAB was more clueful. Permit my jargon. Over GJ. Over now. Okay, now you love Muritala over Gowon because you must deliver your stock in trade insult. A 30-year-old man who pulled Nigeria through the brink of collapse. Clueless. Very clueless. Manese replies, says, was not chosen because he was brilliant or competent. He was chosen based on the same mundane sentiment and tribal religious consideration instead of competence and adaptability. He was a puppet that has kept us backward and retrogressive. But you don't have to agree, neither do I owe you any explanation. We operate on different levels. Please don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.